North Korea, or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is one of the most isolated and closed-off countries in the world. With a totalitarian regime that controls nearly every aspect of citizens' lives, North Korea is an extreme example of a closed and dictatorial state. The North Korean government not only maintains control over information, but also does not tolerate dissenting opinions. They use an extensive network of political prisons to silence opposition and closely monitor their citizens. Basic freedoms such as freedom of speech, assembly, and religion are also severely limited. North Korea's economy is centrally planned and highly inefficient, leading to widespread poverty and chronic hunger. The country is also heavily dependent on foreign aid, particularly from China, to keep its citizens alive. North Korea is also known for its strict isolation policies, including restrictions on access to information and communication with the outside world. Citizens are not allowed to leave the country without special permission, and violators can face severe punishment. In recent years, North Korea has conducted several alarming missile tests, including intercontinental ballistic missiles aimed at the United States. This has increased tensions in the region and prompted reactions from other countries, including South Korea and Japan. The roots of North Korea's closed and dictatorial state can be traced back to the end of World War II. After Japan's defeat and surrender in 1945, the Korean peninsula was divided into two occupation zones. The Soviet Union controlled the northern part, while the United States controlled the southern part. Initially, this division was intended as a temporary arrangement to disarm the Japanese military and prepare Korea for independence. However, the emerging Cold War between the two superpowers made reunification impossible. The two superpowers failed to agree on the future of the Korean peninsula, resulting in the establishment of two separate states in 1948. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a communist state, was established in the north, while the Republic of Korea, a pro-American state, was established in the south. In the south, the Republic of Korea, or South Korea, backed by the United States, was established with Syngman Rhee as its first president. Meanwhile, in the north, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea, backed by the Soviet Union, was established with Kim Il-sung as its supreme leader. Kim Il-sung, a former anti-Japanese communist guerrilla, quickly consolidated his power in North Korea with Soviet support. He built a Stalinist dictatorship in North Korea and created a strong personality cult around himself. Kim Il-sung portrayed himself as an all-knowing, all-good leader and as the savior of the Korean people. Additionally, Kim Il-sung built a highly centralized system and adopted the Juche ideology, which emphasized self-reliance and independence as the guiding principle for his country. After consolidating his power, it didn't take long for Kim Il-sung to show his brutal side. On June 25, 1950, North Korean forces invaded South Korea, starting the Korean War. The war quickly turned into a massive destruction, as the conflict was no longer just about North and South Korea, but rapidly escalated into a proxy war between the United States and its allies on the side of South Korea, and the Soviet Union and China on the side of North Korea. The war lasted for 3 years and resulted in the deaths of millions of people, both military personnel and civilians. The war also destroyed the infrastructure and economy on both sides of the peninsula. Tragically, almost nothing was gained from the war except for a stalemate. In 1953, an armistice agreement was signed, ending the fighting. Additionally, a demilitarized zone was established along the 38th parallel, which has separated the two Koreas to this day. The Korean War had a profound impact on North Korea. Although the war strengthened Kim Il-sung's position as the supreme leader, the country suffered devastating destruction as a result of the conflict. Infrastructure was destroyed, the economy collapsed, and millions of people lost their lives. Kim Il-sung's experience in the war further solidified his belief in building a militarily strong and self-sufficient nation. As a result, he intensified North Korea's isolation, making the country even more closed off from the outside world. Kim Il-sung focused on developing North Korea based on the principles of Juche, which emphasized self-reliance, economic independence, and military autonomy. In practice, this meant implementing a centrally planned economy and a strong military. Kim Il-sung adopted a Soviet-style planned economy, where the state controlled all means of production and distribution. Priority was given to heavy industry, particularly to support military strength. In the initial stages, North Korea's economy experienced significant growth, driven by aid from the Soviet Union and other communist countries. However, despite Kim Il-sung's emphasis on self-reliance, he recognized the importance of a strong military to maintain his regime and prevent foreign invasion. Thus, in the 1990s, the concept of jong-un, or military-first, policy, emerged, prioritizing the military above all other sectors. In addition to building the nation based on Juche principles, Kim Il-sung also cultivated a strong personality cult. He portrayed himself as a great leader who was all-knowing, all-powerful, and the savior of the Korean people. State propaganda disseminated narratives about Kim's greatness, and his portraits were displayed everywhere. Kim Il-sung did not tolerate any political opposition, and all aspects of life were monitored and controlled by the state. Security agencies, such as the Ministry of State Security, brutally suppressed any form of dissent. In 1994, Kim Il-sung passed away, and soon after, Kim Jong-il took over the leadership of North Korea. This transition of power was the first of its kind in a communist state, marking the continuation of the Kim dynasty. Like his father, Kim Jong-il was also surrounded by a personality cult. He was portrayed as a beloved leader who was genius and visionary. State propaganda praised his leadership and attributed various achievements, even those that were implausible. In the mid-1990s, North Korea was hit by a severe famine, known as the Arduous March. This disaster was caused by a combination of factors, including the collapse of the Soviet Union, which resulted in the loss of economic aid, natural disasters, and economic mismanagement. It is estimated that hundreds of thousands to millions of North Koreans died from starvation and disease during this period. Amidst the economic crisis, Kim Jong-il further strengthened the jong-un policy, allocating scarce resources to the military sector. While the North Korean people struggled to survive, Kim Jong-il also began to develop a nuclear weapons program, which was seen as a way to ensure the regime's security and gain recognition on the international stage. This nuclear program soon became a major source of tension with the international community. The United States and its allies demanded that North Korea abandon its nuclear program and imposed harsh economic sanctions. Despite some diplomatic efforts, including the agreed framework signed in 1994 and the six-party talks in the early 2000s, North Korea continued to develop its nuclear weapons program. After Kim Jong-il's death in 2011, his son Kim Jong-un took over the leadership of North Korea. At the time, Kim Jong-un was still in his late 20s and became the world's youngest head of state. Many doubted his ability to lead, but he quickly consolidated his power. Kim Jong-un carried out a series of purges to eliminate officials deemed disloyal or a threat to his rule. One of the most notable purges was the execution of his own uncle, Jang Song-thaek, in 2013. Jang Song-thaek was one of the most powerful officials in North Korea and was considered a mentor to Kim Jong-un. Under Kim Jong-un's rule, North Korea has advanced its nuclear weapons program and ballistic missile capabilities. The country has conducted several nuclear tests and launched intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of reaching the U.S. mainland. Kim Jong-un introduced the Byungjin policy, which aims to develop nuclear weapons and the economy simultaneously. This policy differs from the jong-un policy, which prioritizes the military above all else. Like his father and grandfather, Kim Jong-un is also surrounded by a personality cult. He is portrayed as a wise and brave supreme leader. This personality cult is disseminated through massive propaganda efforts and depicts the Kim family as divine figures destined to rule North Korea. North Korea is known for being a closed and dictatorial state. The country is maintained by a vast security apparatus responsible for suppressing dissent and maintaining control over the population. The main security agency is the Ministry of State Security, also known as Boibu. Boibu has an extensive network of informants monitoring citizens for any signs of disloyalty. Boibu also operates a vast network of political prison camps known as Kwanliso, where political prisoners are subjected to torture, starvation, and execution. It is estimated that between 80,000 to 120,000 political prisoners are detained in these camps. Despite the North Korean government's denial of the existence of these political prison camps, satellite images and testimonies from defectors provide evidence of their existence and operation. In addition to the Boibu, There are several other security agencies in North Korea, including the Military Security Department, which is responsible for monitoring the military, and the Guard Command, which protects the Kim family and other senior officials. The North Korean security apparatus is notorious for its brutality and willingness to use violence to suppress dissent. It is estimated that hundreds of thousands of North Koreans have been imprisoned in these political prison camps. With such a brutal system of governance, North Korea has one of the worst human rights records in the world. The Kim regime regularly commits human rights abuses, including torture, arbitrary detention, and forced labor. North Korea also has one of the worst records of press freedom in the world. The media is entirely state-controlled, and there is no independent journalism allowed. The government uses propaganda to control information and shape public opinion. Citizens who are caught accessing foreign media or criticizing the government can face severe punishment, including imprisonment and torture. In addition to civil and political rights abuses, the North Korean government is also responsible for economic, social, and cultural rights violations. The North Korean government has failed to provide basic necessities for its citizens, including food, healthcare, and education. The North Korean economy has been in decline, and the country is heavily dependent on foreign aid, mainly from China, to keep its population alive. China provides food aid, fuel, and other commodities to North Korea. Besides receiving aid from China, North Korea is also involved in various illicit activities to earn foreign currency, such as counterfeiting, drug trafficking, and cyber attacks. These activities have become an increasingly important source of income for the North Korean government as its official economy continues to decline. Despite this, North Korea has managed to maintain a large military and pursue its nuclear weapons program. This is made possible by the government's jong-un policy, which prioritizes the military above all other sectors in society. The military receives the largest share of the country's resources, and it is estimated that 1/3 of North Korea's GDP is spent on the military. Needless to say, the biggest victims of this system of government are the North Korean people themselves. North Korean society has become extremely isolated and closed off from the outside world. The government controls all aspects of life, including education, healthcare, and entertainment. The government's primary goal is to maintain its control over the population and prevent the spread of foreign ideas that could threaten its grip on power. Education in North Korea is supposedly free and compulsory until the age of 17. However, the curriculum is heavily politicized, and students are constantly taught the history of the Kim family and the Juche ideology. The purpose of education is to instill loyalty to the government and prepare students to serve the country with absolute loyalty. Meanwhile, healthcare in North Korea is also supposedly free, but the quality of care is extremely poor. Hospitals and clinics lack staff and equipment, and medicines are often unavailable. Many North Koreans suffer from preventable diseases and malnutrition. Culture and entertainment in North Korea are also strictly controlled by the government. The only form of art that is allowed is that which promotes the government and its ideology. The media is entirely state-controlled, and there is no independent journalism allowed. North Korean society is divided into strict social classes, where a person's social status is determined by their family background and loyalty to the government. Members of the Workers' Party of Korea and the military, for example, enjoy special privileges and benefits, while those deemed disloyal are treated poorly and can be sent to prison camps. Despite the government's strict control, there are signs of change in North Korea. In recent years, there has been an increase in the number of North Koreans who have access to foreign media and information from outside the country. This has led to an increase in awareness of living conditions in other countries and has sparked some criticism of the government. However, it remains to be seen whether these changes will ultimately lead to political change in North Korea or whether the country will continue to maintain its isolation and dictatorship.